G'day guys, today we're going to do a walkthrough of our tow rig, the tug for the caravan for our trip for the next 12 months. So it's a 2009 model VDJ 200. I've had this car for about 3 years, done a lot to it to make it capable of what we want it to do, but at the same time it is an older vehicle. It does have a lot of Ks on it, so we've done a few things mechanically to make sure it's right for the trip, but hopefully that'd be one of my biggest issues, is that having a high kilometre car, that it doesn't leave us high and dry somewhere. So far, touch wood, in 3 years we've had zero issues with it, but I think we'll just have a walk around, show you what it's got, give you an idea. If you've got any questions, chuck them below. I've got Riley on the camera today, so let me know what sort of a job Rooster's doing and if I should hire him as a cameraman. So we'll start up the front. It's a 2009 VDJ, which is the V8 twin turbo diesel. Up the front we've got the ARB deluxe bar, steady fog lights, replacement headlights, just to give us a daytime running light, and I just like the look of the blacked out look. Also running the Steedy Type X Sport, so they're the cheaper version of the Type X Pro, still a great light. It's got a 12,500 pound winch. Yeah, it's got the bigger hook under there, which just makes a bit ease of reliability. This was an older bar, so it's also got the newer LED headlights, just for making sure that they're reliable and you don't get water in them and that sort of thing. It's got a GME, just your typical whip. It's got the changeable 6.1 dB and your smaller dB aerial, depending on the conditions you're in. Usually run the smaller one just so we don't have to worry about it in shopping centres and stuff like that. Other than that, that's basically the front. We might start at the front, work our way through, so I'm going to pop the bonnet, get you under there and show you what we've got going on under there. Pretty standard looking under here. So we've got a lithium battery as our secondary battery. It's a 110 amp hour lithium battery. They sort of recommend you don't run them under the bonnet. However, that one's been in there for about 18 months and had zero issues. The big thing with the lithium batteries, or in the 200s in particular, they're not sort of right near the exhaust or the manifold, and I think there's enough stuff here that seems to block the heat. I know other vehicles have issues with them getting too hot and losing a lot of efficiency, but as I said, no issues with that whatsoever. Got the Red Arc BC-DC 1240, which is your 40 amp DC-DC charger. Still running the standard airbox. I've toyed with the idea of replacing that. Obviously the 200 series being quite known for having dusting issues. We keep an eye on that. I've found running all different filters that the genuine Toyota filter is still the best. Did put a little bit more tension by bending these clips a little bit more, and also run some dielectric grease around the seal. So far that seems to be working. Obviously every time I clean it, check underneath here and make sure there's no dust getting through, and also make sure the MAF sensor's cleaned. Other than that, we've got the ProVent 200 catch can, so that just helps with, again, with it being a higher kilometre V8 diesel as well, it just helps with any blow-by that it might have. It also has your secondary Drive Tech fuel filter, so that's working at the moment as a 30 micron pre-filter, not a post filter. So it's filtering and water separation before the main filter. That was done since new, basically, so that was, to keep your warranties intact. It's got to be, nothing can be between the factory filter and the engine. We're running diff, front and rear diff, transfer case and gearbox breathers all up in here. I have noticed that for some reason I've broken, or some of these have broken off, so going to be getting replacements of those before we leave. Other than that, so it is remapped. It's dynoed to just under 1,000 Newton meters. Power wise, it's more of a torque towing tune. It definitely has a lot of power for what it is, so very happy with the power it's got at the moment. So we leave in about a month for our full trip. It has 290,000 Ks on it at the moment, so I'm very meticulous with servicing. Make sure that I service it every sort of 5,000, do oils, everything else that's needed. The only thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get the auto checked again, so get all the fluids drained and make sure all the valves and everything are right in there before we go, give it a good service. And it's also booked in at Diesel Gas Moree to have a good go over the car, check all the cold start injector values, check compression, just give me a bit of peace of mind that it's as healthy as it seems to be. So I'm sort of more than likely that we'll be putting injectors in it, but that's only because of the kilometers, not because of anything that it's doing. So yeah, other than the tune, performance wise, yeah, tune. It's also got a straight through 3-inch twin exhaust, yeah, which I'm really happy with. No mufflers on that, as I said, it's straight through. Does have a really nice note to it, which I love. So working down the car, we have dropped back tyre size. We did have bigger tyres. We've gone back to a 33-inch or a 285/70/17. Reason for that is we're not going to be doing any really serious off-road driving while we're travelling for the next 12 months, and I thought it might make it tow the van a little bit easier, and also it's going to help with fuel economy as well, make the car work a little bit easier and make the speedo a bit closer. So that's where we're at. We're back to a 33, running the diesel or Mullins wheels. There's a Renegade. So this car has a Old Man Emu BP51 remote res full suspension kit. That's the adjustable valving, adjustable compression, adjustable height, coilover type setup. It is with that full kit, as well as the Black Hawk upper control arms, which are your version 2. The original ones did have some issues with the upper control joint there, having issues. That's been rectified as far as I know. We haven't had any dramas, so I'm happy with that. With that kit that's in there at the moment, this car has been upgraded with the GVM going from its original 3350 up to 4050. So it's a big increase. Means that this car can be quite heavy, and we can use it for, you know, we don't always tow the van. Sometimes we're doing camping and stuff where we load it right up, and with all of us in it, full of water, all that sort of stuff. It's really important that, yeah, that we know that we're right. Safari R-Max snorkel. So another thing with the research is these big engines, when they're working hard, and particularly when they're tuned or when they're towing, they suck a lot of air. So one of the biggest issues supposedly was that the restrictive air intake was making the plastic airbox deform because it couldn't suck enough air to keep its shape. The R-Max snorkel helps with that, and also raises your air intake up higher, so water crossings, and also keeping it out of the dust and that sort of thing. Working down the car, we've got the ARB side rails and steps, or brush rails and steps. These are an O-cam towing mirror, so they're just a rip off of a Clearview. Certainly do the job, no reason to change them. It's the black car, midnight black, but it also has a magnetic black. A few people have asked about this. So it's a magnetic black wrap, or a vinyl wrap down the bottom half. That's a colour changing wrap, so it goes between black and sort of more of a graphite grey. So as the car drives past, it disappears or it changes colour depending on the light. I like the look of it. Breaks up the whole black car, and also means that it gives it another protection on the paint. With it being a black car, I'm really mindful of scratches and things like that. Speaking of that, we do have clear PPF paint protection film on the entire car. So this is a bush wrap advanced kit. So that's the sides of the car are all covered. We also have the bonnet and the back of the car done as well. So basically the entire car, except for the roof, is done in a self-healing clear film. If you get any pinstripes or scrapes or marks or swirls, that sort of thing, which generally show up a lot in a black car, then you leave it in the sun. They come out generally by themselves. Sometimes you can use a heat gun to get them out, that sort of thing. Working down the car, so we've got a Rhino rack. It's a backbone platform. On that, we've got the shovel mounted. We've got rod holders up there, which we can use to mount all our fishing rods when we're traveling. We've also got the couple of Max Tracks. They're just your cheap knockoff ones, hence why I can't put 4 together. They don't pack as slimly as the Max Tracks do, so they need to be packed like that. While we're traveling, we intend to leave them like that. We'll have our fishing rods up this section here, and down the middle we'll have a Oz tent, which we're going to take with us just so we can basically use it for the odd island trips where we can't tow the big caravan. We've got the kick-ass shower tent, so that's a 30-second shower tent. Drop it down. It's great for the kids just to be able to get changed at the beach. We actually use that more than we thought we would, not only just for sharing but also for use on the beach. Like I said, when they want to get changed, if they want a bit of privacy, if the kids need to use the potty, whatever sort of thing. We'll keep going around the outside of the car, and then we'll go inside. So on the back, it's got the Kmart rear bar just for a bit of protection. Also then means we can mount the spare tyre on the back, and this is our bike carrier. So it's a Yakima or a Yakima, depending on how you want to say it. 2-bike carrier, stays on there all the time, nice and lightweight, lockable. If you don't want it on there, you can undo the lock, unscrew that, and you're left with a threaded connection through the tyre, which you can use to mount other options as well, which is pretty cool. Then we've got the 2 jerry can holders. We use these for all sorts of different things. We swap between water, sometimes diesel. We've also got some tread bags that go in there just for storage, depending on, again, how we're using the car. Telescopic light on the back, which is a camping light. We can move that. It's also on the reverse as well, so we can, it's a backup light as well. We've got the fire extinguisher, which is easily accessible here. We can grab it, everyone knows where it is. It's not inside the car locked where you can't get to it if you don't have the keys, all that sort of thing. So really easy to get to, and yeah, I think it's a good spot. When it's folded up, nobody knows it's there, so no one's going to steal it. This storage in the back here, we've got our couple of soft shackles. We've got a couple of snatch straps and a tree trunk protector, so that's just utilising wasted space, which we try and do that as much as you can, particularly in a wagon. Again, on your wasted space, so in the back of the swing away jerry can holders here, we've got quite a nice little void in the back here, which I always wanted to do something with. So I come up with the idea of just using some thin wall pipe and some rectangular RHS, and that's our soap, sunscreen, spray oil when we're cooking at the back of the car, the air guard, rubbish bags, and a couple of these little hardcore magnetic lights. So yeah, I really like that option as well. Just gives us plenty of storage, and yeah, which you'll see once we get inside the car. We've got things jammed in every little nook and cranny, so it's, yeah, taking advantage of what space you've got in a wagon. This is my first wagon. I've always come from dual cab utes with trays and that sort of thing, so getting to know how to get the same amount of stuff in a wagon was a challenge at the start. Working down his side, we have the Rhino Rack back wing awning, so it's a 270-degree awning. We also have 2 zipped tapered sidewalls for that, which we can swap anywhere around the awning to create shade as the sun moves during the day. And then it also means that our Rhino Rack or Oz tent RV4 tent zips onto the front of that awning as well, so it makes quite a usable space for our big family, even when we don't have the caravan. Under here, so we've got your Light Force rock lights, so they light up underneath the awning. I've just got it on a little switch, so it's accessible from the outside of the car. Just by pressing that, we've got our lights under our awning, or if you're doing something at camp, it just gives you plenty of light on the ground, but not up in your face because of the angle on the awning. Rightio, so we'll take you inside the car. We'll start at the back, which is my favourite part of the car. In the back, this was a bit of a labour of love working out what I wanted to do here. So we've got the ARB drawers. This is the full drawer setup. With that, then gives us the cargo barrier, which I think is really important with kids. Means that anything you've got loaded in the back isn't going to slide forward and hit the kids under a braking situation. You can be a little bit more confident as to what you put in the car. We have a rear rack and divider. So the divider means nothing falls onto the fridge. The rack at the top, we can put all our camp chairs, our tables, everything like that up there, so that's great. And then we've got all our side pockets, which has all sorts of things in there. Yeah, I've got yabby pumps, fish nets, all sorts of things. With our electric side of things, so it's got a twin tank ARB compressor, which is mounted in the side panel here. It runs to a 25 metre retractable hose reel, so we can pull it out, turn on the compressor, and straight away we're into pumping up tyres on the caravan or the car. Storage wise in here, so this is all our airing up, airing down, stuff that we need to get to quickly, tyre deflators, that sort of thing. We also have the blow nozzle, so we can blow out air filters, all that sort of thing, and storage on this one as well. This is just our general spares kit, I guess. Cable ties, electrical tape, fuses, electrical crimps, general sort of screws, nuts and bolts, an awning bracket, that sort of thing. Just being on the road, just not 100% sure what we're going to need, so trying to cater for that as much as we can without taking the whole shed with us. As well as having that, we also have an 85 litre FlexiMate bladder between the cargo barrier and the back seat. That then means that we've got 85 litres of water, which is either gravity fed or we can turn on a 12 volt pump. And with that means that when I set up the caravan at a site, we can have the caravan set up at a site for a week or so. We can do day trips here and there. Whenever we go into town or find somewhere with water, we can fill up the bladder, the 2 jerry cans on the back. We can use the electric pump to then fill up the caravan tanks when we get back. So essentially we can sort of bring water back to the van and keep us going without having to move it. With the drawers, so we've got pull-out table. This is essentially all my tools: jump starter, 1/2-inch rattle gun, drills, a blower, a standard sort of Ryobi drill bit, spade bit sort of set, a gas cooker, just because we do like to cook on the beach and stuff occasionally when we're doing day trips. Right in the back is our sidewalls, and a first aid kit, which is obviously pretty important. This is just a mix of micro discs, flapper discs, that sort of thing, just so we can sort of hopefully fix most things by ourselves and be fairly self-sufficient. In this drawer we've got a King's toolkit, so that's got everything that normally comes with, which is a socket set, ring spanners, screwdrivers, Allen keys, all that sort of general stuff, as well as, you know, hacksaws and general stuff. It's a pretty extensive kit for what it is. It's not too bad. To that I've added the Makita angle grinder, some seal picks, some fuel line and brake line clamps, just general stuff that I think might come in handy along the road. We've got this drawer here, which will be our sort of fill up with groceries and stuff like that when we go shopping. Telescopic ladder, which is tucked in there nice, doesn't take up a whole lot of space, but it pulls out to nearly 4 meters, so that's important to have, just so we can get up on top of the caravan easily if we need to. Yeah, if we want to sort of check the solar panels, fix something damaged, that sort of thing. We have the Road Chef 12 volt oven, so we use that to cook the kids chicken nuggets and chicken fingers, reheat meals. So if we cook a big meal, we'll actually reheat, we'll save some in a foil container, and then the next day or whenever we can reheat it while we're driving, and that's our lunch, just try and save us buying food as much. We've got USBs and cigarette plugs down the back there, so that runs some of our electrical stuff, which we'll get to in a minute, and also it runs phone cords through into the back seat for the kids so they can charge their tablets and electronics while we're driving. Down here as well, so we've got the voltmeter. I've got twin USBs, which is just great for charging camera stuff and things when you're parked up. This is all off the secondary battery, so it will work while the car's turned off, so that's great. Cigarette lighter there, we sort of use that for using our little pump for blowing up airbeds or water toys, that sort of thing. Lights wise, so one of these switches is the light on the telescopic. This switch here is our room light, so that lights up the back of the car, which is good. With this over here, so this is a Ridge 4x4 tilt slide. Didn't want to go a drop slide because they're physically bigger, and yeah, they are a lot heavier as well. The issue with the tilt slide, even just for a 40 litre angle, the sides come out wider and you screw down outside the footprint of the fridge slide. The issue is that was meant that I couldn't, if I was to screw it down, I couldn't lift up this side hatch and I couldn't slide this slide top. So what I did was a little bit of mucking around, but sat down over a few beers and worked out how I could do it to get all the mounting points underneath the fridge slide and be no wider than the slide itself. So that meant taking the left hand and right hand supports up here, swapping them. So rather than coming out with the angle iron, they went in, notching this section out here, so that allows the slide to come out and tilt. Everything works as it should, but it really minimises the footprint and means that it'll screw down on this one slide, so that's really cool. The other thing that I have done is taken one of the gas slide struts off. Normally has two, which is great when the fridge is 100% full, means that it stays down, it's really easy to lift up. But the problem is if we run this fridge on 24/7, sometimes it may only have a few bottles of water and a few beers in it. If that was the case, the gas strut was just too strong, it wouldn't stay down, it kept coming up by itself. So now, even with not much in the fridge, it stays down perfectly, and then even when it's full, it's just a little bit of help to get it up. Inside we've got our little pop-up fire pit, As I said, we take advantage of all our space in this car, so there's nothing that doesn't have something hidden somewhere. We can also pull this off, get into here, and then we have dinner sets. I've got some snake garters there, just when we're walking through the long ground. I've got a fold-up billy, which lives in there, so we can boil a bit of water. Yeah, knives and forks, all that sort of stuff. So there's things jammed in absolutely every corner of this car. Okay, before we go inside the car, I'll just show you. So we've got a 12-pin plug, so that's got a power on it as well. We have 2 Anderson plugs. So why do we have 2? It's one runs through the vehicle, so when we turn the vehicle off, it's not going to give any power to the caravan or whatever we're powering. It's not going to allow the battery to drain. The other one is a 24/7 or constant power, so we can plug it into that one and know that we have power there all the time. This little thing here is our Safety Dave connection for our caravan, and when we get inside the car, we'll show you what it's running to. Righto, inside the car is all fairly standard. Just a few little mod cons, but the 200 series generally have pretty much everything you want anyway. So downhill assist control, that sort of thing. So we've got the little modified cup holder bracket insert there, sorry. So that just stops the small cups that used to flop around in there and coffee spilling and all that sort of thing. On the seats, we've got the super trim neoprene seat covers just to protect the leather, and when you're getting out and getting wet walking through crossings and stuff, you're not going to be worried about water in there. We've done whatever we can to protect the car. So again, the molded floor mats, so they fill every little space so you don't get any sand on the carpet and that sort of thing. We've got a wireless streetwise charger there for the phone, running the XRS Connect, so really don't use the full features of that unit, but it's great to have. It's very clear, and it's also got one of the best speakers for a handheld unit, I find. Typical sort of climate control, that sort of thing. Upgraded Pioneer head unit, so that runs our reverse camera as well as upgraded speakers in the doors, and also an amplifier which gives us nice sound. Up the top here we've just got a traffic cam or a dash cam. I think they're pretty important to have in this day and age, just so you can protect yourself if there is a bit of an accident. You know what's happening. You can prove you weren't in the wrong, hopefully. If you were in the wrong, you can burn the memory card. This is our Safety Dave camera, so with a few little screens and things that I've already got, I didn't want it to be in my vision at all, so I've put it up here. Originally with the suction cap mount, it really wasn't effective because of where I was trying to put it being on this bubbled finish. It just wouldn't stick. So what I ended up doing was, I never used the standard rear vision mirror anyway because I can't see out through the back of the setup that's in the back. So I've modified the mount and actually made the Safety Dave camera fit onto the hard mounted rear vision camera mount, so solid, doesn't move at all on corrugations. It's really good. So while we're up here, I've also got the hat saver, the Cobra hat saver, so that's just for Jess and my hat. Just, yeah, means that it's easy to grab. It's always there. You don't have to try and, you know, scrunch it up and put it in the back with the kids or anything like that. And I've mounted it off the original mount here where the fold down DVD player is. So that's just a little bit of luxury for the kids. With this being an older GXL, didn't have steering wheel controls, which I missed coming from a new model Hilux. So I've just got these Bluetooth ones, which are great because they're fully programmable. So I was able to make them what I wanted. So typical volume, skip, mute, that sort of thing. Answer phone call, hang up, speech to text, that sort of thing. But then this back button here, rather than being home, I've got that hooked up to activate the reverse camera. So if I'm driving along and I need to look back at something, or yeah, in a hurry, I can hit that button and the reverse camera will come on. So that's pretty cool. Up here we've got our just a wireless tire sensor, so it gives you your temperature of your tires and also obviously the pressure, which is the main thing. Just keeping an eye on making sure they're good. This little button here is our torque converter lockup kit, so it's an MM4x4. Really happy with that kit. So it's fully programmable through your OBD settings. You can sort of go through a sequence, I'll get it out in a minute, of pressing your on button, putting your stick into sports mode, doing a certain sort of press of buttons, and then you can change exactly when that torque converter locks up and when it unlocks depending on your driving preference. You can be in auto where it'll just lock over 70 k's an hour, which is cool. It'll unlock under 70 k's an hour, or you can put it into sports mode and have full control over every gear of when that torque converter locks up and unlocks. The other really cool thing is, because it's through the OBD port, the other feature they've given it is if something was to happen with the vehicle and the check engine light comes on, for instance, you get water on the MAF sensor or something, which can happen, or having a tuned car, you have a little bit of a moment where the check engine light comes on. Touch wood, this car doesn't do that, but if for some reason I do, I can put my foot on the brake, double press this button, and that will clear any check engine lights and any fault codes. In the back, pretty standard, so it's just a full floor mat again. Kids have got their seats in here, and as I said, we've just got the cords that they can pull out when they want to and charge their phones and things. Okay, that was a walkthrough of our 2009 200 series, our Tug. Yeah, hopefully going to make us some memories on the trip. Love this car, beautiful to drive, heaps of power, sounds great. Hopefully it doesn't give us any issues, and when we get back in 12 months we can hang on to it, because I do like the car, as I said. Tows the van effortlessly. We've got a 22'6" off-road van, which is about 3 tonne. So yeah, we'll give you a walkthrough of that next. So if you've got any questions on the car, let me know in the comments, please. I'll answer any questions that you've got. Yeah, as I said, it is a higher K car. It's not a $200,000 Landcruiser like most, but in my opinion it's still a great looking car. It's everything I want, and it's all that we can afford, particularly when we are about to do lapping for 12 months and had to buy a relatively sort of expensive caravan. So yeah, if you've got any questions, let me know, and let Riley know how he went on the camera. Thanks guys.